Hi guys, Ethereal Awakening here, doing individual zodiac sign readings. This one's for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Check your North Node. I've had the feeling like my hands earlier, kind of like there was a sensation of every time I have something good, it slips through my hands. You know, like I can't hold on to something. So I'm going to dive into these readings. I've got some new oracle cards here. This one's a Messages from the Light by Joyce Huntington. And pull a couple of these and then clarify with some tarot and give an advice card. Spirit, what messages would you like for Gemini? Spirit, what messages would you like for Gemini? All right. Really pretty cards. And listening. I'll read from the book for these ones. So renewal. I'm going to put these up together. Look at the colors there. There's two people in that renewal card. So there's, I want to say just from intuitively, you know, this is asking for you to, you know, calm your mind. Because we see that orange and the yellow. Might need some sacral and root chakra, solar plexus chakra healing. The two people in the renewal card to me represent that internal balance. I mean, the circles are just, I mean, the circles and circles and circles. There's a blue circle outside on the renewal card, outside the orange and yellow. And then the orange and the yellow inside the listening. So I want to say there's some healing that is required of your sacral and solar plexus chakra. But like I said, I'm going to read from the book for these cards. Let's see, renewal. The well of spirit is deep beyond imagining. You cannot exhaust it. Replenish yourself. You are deserving just as you are. So it kind of flows right in what I was saying, like recognizing that no matter what you've done, where you've been, what your accomplishments are, you deserve to replenish yourself. That when you go within and seek all of your own personal truths, you're no longer seeking the energy of other things, those accomplishments, the things that we've done, the people we know. Those no longer become your source of validation. You are simply relying on the internal knowing, the internal truth that you are a part of all that is, and you are deserving as you are to replenish yourself from that source, from the source, because you're a part of source. And listening. Are you truly hearing what the universe is trying to tell you? Turn toward what catches your ear. That is enough. Take the first step. Attunement will follow. So whether it's a tarot card reading that gives you an idea, whether it's conversations or little, I mean, I've had little sayings, I mean, some of the most oddest places that have stuck with me. I mean, you can call me the quote queen, you can call me, you know, I just have these little memories that have been there throughout my life. And I still will call upon them. And I've still used them. Whether it was something I overheard in a conversation while I was sitting in line at the grocery store, or something I read, you know, in a magazine, or something my mother told me, my father told me. I mean, and these people, my mom and dad aren't in my life right now. They're alive, but they're not in my life right now. Our frequencies don't match. So rather than creating more trauma, I've removed myself from their existence so that I could expand my existence, and eventually I know that we'll all be back together. That is something my daughter told me. Grabbed me by my face. Mom, we will be all together again. There's something that was told to me that I've held on to for years now. And I can go back even further. Just these little things. Like, really pay attention. Things that they're catching to you are little ways that the universe, synchronicities, as you start to recognize number patterns. And yesterday at work, a lady and I were talking about this little snail, and then it reminded me of the Never-Ending Story, and then she got reminded of the Labyrinth movie with the little worm, and we were like joking about the little worm. I kid you not, 3-4 hours later, I'm doing my work, and there's a Labyrinth board game in my table that I'm cleaning out. And I walked all the way down. I said, Wendy, and I held this was not a Milton, this is just some board game I've never seen in my life. I'm like, look, and I held the board up, and she's like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. That was Spirit's way of telling me I was exactly where I needed to be at that moment. You're on the right track. So that's just an example of start listening. Sometimes we listen with our ears. Sometimes we listen with our eyes. A lot of times when you listen with your heart, that's when the translation all comes together. That's how I knew that a talk that we had, I visually saw the box. It was all full circle. So I'm going to pull some tarot now. Spirit, let's dive deep into this for Gemini. See where we go. All right. Gemini, what does the tarot want to tell us today? Okay. All right. On the renewal card, the Devil. And the Three of Pentacles. So right away, the renewal, speaking on where, being mindful, again, like I was speaking on earlier, being mindful of where we're gathering our emotional and physical validation. Like, what are we seeking? Are we seeking from ourselves that natural and God-given, intuitive knowing that we are complete and whole and all capable without any external influences? Because when I see the Devil with the Three of Pentacles, what's coming together for you are all those negative, lower vibrational validations. It's using other people saying, wow, that's great, instead of knowing without anyone saying, wow, that's great, that it's great. The Devil card here is about the things that bind us, and we can become emotionally bound to the validation of others around us. And that's kind of where I'm leaning on when I see that Three of Pentacles with the Devil. It's what's being manifested is, it doesn't come from within. It's coming from being chained and bound to, well, if other people acknowledge that what I'm doing is good and at any level, it could, it could very well be she did me wrong, and having a group of friends going, we know. Like, yeah, she did you wrong, but you were there for her to do you wrong. That's an example, but it's simply throwing off the blame so that you can get the emotional back pat from your friends going, girl, we know. Yep, that was wrong. That was effed up for her to do that. Like, how about we have friends that go, well, why were you there? Being able to be around people who challenge you because they want to see you grow. They don't want to see you hanging out with people who are going to do you like that. They want to see you remove yourself so you no longer have the option to be the victim. And that's exactly where going within and learning where to get that, because when they are validating that negative experience for you, whatever that negative experience is, and it can be something like drugs and alcohol, sex, gambling, addictive, same kind of concept. You're just getting, instead of your friend saying, yeah, growing up, you're internalizing it to the level of, this makes me feel better. It makes me feel better to go have random sex. It makes me feel better to go gamble. It makes me feel better. So these are ways of making you feel better, but it can come from within. It can come from tapping into that universal energy, that universal source. And that's where it should. When you're walking a spiritual path, being connected into that universal source is what gives you that renewal, that you no longer seek it in drugs, in alcohol, in your friends validating negative experiences in your life, and somebody, coddling you. That's what's going on, is you're being coddled when your friends are validating, all the victimhood that we put ourselves in. And 2 cards for the listening. It's time to let this stuff go, Gemini. The wheel wants to turn. And we can turn it, or God can turn it, and we can be deposited in a better place, having learned the necessary lessons from what we went through. I don't like those feelings and those experiences anymore. Or we can keep coddling. We can keep going to those other devil energy, this is the opposite of going to source for a good emotional burst. Source is within. Not from your friends telling you, that was fucked up, that happened. Not from the drugs or the alcohol, the gambling, the sex, the TV, all of these external sources. It's being able to sit with yourself and go, I did good. But with this card there, you're still seeking outside yourself. So what's coming together is that external. Your internal compass is telling you to keep looking outside of yourself for validation, while the wheel wants to turn, where you start listening, because that was on that listening card. When you start listening to what your soul is telling you. Your soul is telling you, let's get out of this. It's not serving you. Let's tap into something more concrete, more lasting, more expansive, so that you can feel that connectedness. We all want to feel connected to something. Connect to source. Connect to God. The Queen of Pentacles. This will physically manifest for you once you begin that listening and renewal process. Seeking only the validation that you and God, that relationship, offers you. 2 of Pentacles in the underlying energy. And when I see this 2 of Pentacles, those Pentacles are balanced. This isn't, the waves, look at the waves behind him though. Although the sea is choppy, I am recognizing that I have done the necessary work to transmute all these bad experiences, all this negative attention, all of these, all of the addictive and compulsive behaviors as where I had to go to learn what I need to learn to manifest the new. Stop doing those negative things to get the good things, because it is time, Gem. 9 of Rods. And that's in that underlying, looking right at that pentacle, that 2 of Pentacles. Let your guard down to you. If you need to block off the people and the activities that are only bringing you more negative, more negative internal feelings, it's okay to do that. You are worth it. And the 5 of Swords. Again, this is all this cutting off kind of energy. When I see this together here, he's got that sword in between him and those people. And the 5 of Swords. And the 9 of Rods, he's blocked off. And in this Two of Pentacles, even his eyes are closed, he's got his Two Pentacles, even though that water is choppy behind him. It might be a little hard at first to cut people off for a little while. Like I said, my mom and dad are very alive and well, but I've had to cut them off so that I can work on me. And we'll find each other again in the future. But as for right now, I know that there's internal work that I've been doing. And things are coming from me that'll allow for adjustments to be made in the future. It doesn't feel good at first because we're not used to it. I'm going to pull an advice card for you. Spirit, what advice do we have for Gemini? Spirit, what advice do we have for Gemini? This is that Chapel of the Sacred Mirrors deck by Alex Gray. All right. Right along. I love this artwork here. Spiritual energy system. Melting our identity into a fountain of light, extending into our surroundings, transforms the mirrored perceiver into sprouting jets of psychogism. This still human archetype is a vessel of transition into the elevated order, the reflections on purification. So that's exactly what I was speaking on, Gem. It's purifying all the negative, lower vibrational habits that we've formed, whether it's reaching to friends for validation in, situations we shouldn't have been in the first place, or activities that leave us feeling empty and seeking more of that. We can turn that around. Going within, renewing yourself from source, and listening, really listening to yourself. You have been asking yourself for attention for a long time, Gem, and it's time to start listening to you. I hope this has helped. See you next time.